Are you planning a Halloween party? Want to be balling on a budget? I got you. Now, as Americans, we spent over $12 billion on Halloween in 2023. We don't have to spend that much on a Halloween party. I mean, you're going to spend some money, but you don't have to spend thousands. I've thrown a few Halloween parties with varying degrees of success, all of them being success. I've got some ideas for you. Everything from a killer playlist, the spookiest hors d'oeuvres you could ever serve, to how we decorated our house, to the invitations. I'm going to share it all with you. I'm going to show you pictures. I'm going to show you what we did and tell you what worked, tell you what we maybe think didn't work. And hopefully by me sharing what did work and what didn't work, it'll give you a good idea of maybe where to spend the money and where not to spend the money so that you can throw a great Halloween party for less money without blowing your budget on stuff that's not going to make an impact. Everyone knows at any party, food is the star of the show. But food can't be the star of the show if no one shows up to your party. How do you get people to show up to your party? If they've been to your last party and your last party was a success, they'll show up. But let's say you didn't have a last party. Let's say this is going to be your first Halloween party and you want people to show up. You got to create a little mystery and intrigue. You got to make them want to show up. You got to have them thinking there's something going to be going on there that they're going to want to see or be a part of. Don't assume just because they're your friends, they're going to show up. They're adults. They got shit to do. You got to send them an invitation that captures their imagination and makes them wonder, what kind of party is this? Invitation needs to say a few things. It needs to say where and when the party is, obviously, but it also needs to say that there's going to be alcohol and food and music, because those are three things that must be at every successful party. Now, I probably should have been clear. This is not a kid's Halloween party I'm talking about. It's an adult's Halloween party. So if it's a kid's Halloween party you're planning, stick around. Most of this stuff you can still use, just can't use the alcohol part. That's not good. Don't do that. Speaking of alcohol, your local liquor store will definitely have some Halloween-themed bottles around Halloween. So pick some of those up. They are awesome to look at, and the drinkers will appreciate them. Even the non-drinkers will consider them decor, and you can never have too much Halloween decor going on. Also, consider relabeling some of those wine bottles you have laying around the house that you haven't drank yet with some Halloween-themed wine labels. You say you're not an experienced bartender, you don't know how to do this stuff? Don't worry about that. I got you. I'm going to share with you a couple of great Halloween-themed recipes for cocktails in the description. One of them even glows under black light. Just make sure you get the right alcohol. Check the recipe before you go to the store. By now you understand that alcohol is one of those places where I still would invest some money in the party. And there's a couple other places where I definitely would still spend money on the party, and one place where I definitely would not, and I'll tell you what that is before the end of the video. You can't go wrong with the alcohol because it's not going to go bad. It's going to sit there in your liquor cabinet until you break it out again. And nobody's going to question you at your July 4th party why you have a crystal skull of tequila. They don't care. They just want the tequila. You can't serve all that liquor without feeding it with a little bit of great food. Talk about food. This is someplace you should definitely put some time and effort into. Halloween-themed snacks are awesome, and they look great on the table. They're part of the decor. You must have Halloween-themed hors d'oeuvres. This skull was easy to make. All we did is take a plastic skull, wrap it in foil, and slap some prosciutto around it. Threw some mozzarella eyeballs in there with some black olives and pimento for the eyeballs. And of course, the Halloween-themed devilish deviled eggs. This is our take of pigs in a blanket, which basically mummies that we made with the same stuff, sausage and crescent rolls. You can give them eyes if you want to with poppy seeds or whatever. Now remember what I said, the food is the star of the show, so don't skimp out here. Go ahead and spend a little money here if you need to, but have a lot of different things that your guests can try because they're going to need something, like I said, to feed that alcohol. And when you're serving it up, don't forget how you do it. Do it in style. Here is a Halloween-themed charcuterie board. You can do like a spread on here. Serve it up. We made these witch's fingers with pizza crust, a little piece of pepperoni for the fingernail. Now there's all kinds of Halloween-themed foods you can find on the internet, and I'll put some of what I showed in the description that you can follow, but you can find all kinds of stuff out there if you look. And of course, the last food item you're going to want is desserts. Let me show you a few that we did. Of course, we had the Jell-O brain with the raspberries or strawberries on top. There's a lava cake that's just as colorful inside as it is outside, and an assortment of cupcakes in ghostly and ghastly fashion. Now, we've covered 2 of the 3 what I call major components of the party. We've covered alcohol, we've covered food, we still have to cover music. But before we do, let's cover costumes and decor. Those are 2 areas where you could definitely save some money and still get a good bang for your buck. You can still do a lot with a little on costumes and decor. Now, when I'm talking about costumes, I'm talking about for you and your spouse or your significant other, whoever it might be that's hosting the party with you, if anyone. I would suggest, however, getting a few cheap little items like masquerade ball masks or vampire fangs or something like that, so that you have something on hand for that one that shows up not wearing a costume, because you know there's going to be one. There's always one. You know what we call that person? We call that person a killjoy. They're going to kill the energy of your party. Because people that walk around and scope out other people's costumes without wearing one themselves are a little creepy. That wouldn't be the creepy in the good Halloween kind of way. That would be the creepy in the stalker, Karen, judgy kind of way. This is what my wife and I look like without our costumes, and you can save a lot of money by keeping your costumes year after year. Been everything from mild to wild, this 70s look, then the gore look, and then of course we've done the vampire thing. We've been Vikings and pirates and done stuff from the 20s, you know, the whole zoot suit and whatnot. And it's all fun. But these costumes are always done on the cheap, and you don't have to spend a lot of money on them. I promised I would tell you where I spent too much money and probably made a mistake, and one of the areas where I've spent too much money was on costumes. For instance, that Viking costume, that wasn't cheap. The helmet alone was pretty expensive. And the whole zoot suit thing, I spent hundreds on a zoot suit that I only wore one time. Wouldn't do that again. The other costumes went over just as well. The 70s thing cost almost nothing and was a huge hit. Now, Halloween decorations are another area where you can save a lot of money. You can get a lot of nice Halloween decorations really cheap. The best things we did when decorating was these wall setters. We put them everywhere. We basically wallpapered the entire downstairs of our house in preparation for our last Halloween party. Get them in all sorts of themes and styles and sizes. The main thing is they're not that expensive. And you can get them at your local party store, or you can get them online. Look, you can get them through the links in the description. If you use those links, I get a little, a little something for the effort. But hey, don't feel like you have to use the link. Get them wherever you want to. I'm just letting you know that. Full disclosure, if you use a link, I make a little something off of it. Hey, look, one thing I would like you to do, if you like this type of video, please like, subscribe, comment, tell me your ideas, because I want to steal them, by the way, and I'm going to use them in my next Halloween party. And you can see a little more of the decor here. We spent some money here because we replaced every light with black light. We removed all the furniture to give the guests somewhere to dance, because this is where we have the DJ set up, which leads me to the music, the third major thing that every party needs. Definitely one more thing I spent way too much money on, but it was not the DJ. The DJ is somewhere you should spend money. Now look, I'm going to be honest. You don't have to have a DJ. You could probably set it up with a stereo and, well thought out playlist ahead of time, and perhaps it'll go over okay. I'm just telling you, I've thrown a lot of parties, okay? I've thrown a lot of Halloween parties, a lot of July 4th parties, various different occasions, birthday parties, whatnot. And I'm telling you, all of the best ones, we had DJs at. Something about the energy that a DJ can bring to your party is kind of crucial. Now, I gave my DJ a playlist because I know what my guests want to hear. So, I have a theory, and it has to do with the average age of your guests. If you know the average age of your guests is, say, Gen X type people, you're going to want to play a lot of music from the 80s and 90s, maybe a little bit from the 70s, and maybe a little bit that's current. But most of it's going to want to be from their heyday, from their youth. But hey, if your guests are older or younger, you're going to want to adjust that to be whatever you need it to be. And look, I'd love to know in the comments what kind of songs you guys are putting in your playlist. Mine, of course, was Halloween themed for those eras. I'll put some of my best music from the playlist in the description so you can see the kind of things that I'm playing. But please comment and tell me what you're going to play at your party. There's no doubt that my list is an eclectic mix. It's a lot of different stuff. I'm not playing Monster Mash, I can tell you that. Okay, so I promised I would tell you what the biggest waste of money was for the entire party, and that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. The biggest waste of money for the entire party was this one thing I thought I could pull off, and it was going to be just epic, right? And it wasn't very epic. In fact, it was a really big dud that kind of cost a lot of money for what it was. In our backyard, we have a pool, and of course, I bought probably like 50 or 100 pounds of dry ice to throw in the pool because I wanted it to look like a bubbling cauldron, right? And I thought this was going to go over really well. And it was a great idea, except for one thing. When you put the dry ice in the pool, that effect goes like that, like that. I couldn't even get a picture. I mean, it went boom, boom, and it is done. Like it might have lasted for 30 seconds, and then it was done. And the rest of the night, no bubbling cauldron. Look, that's it, guys. I'm glad you stayed around for the end of the video. I appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great Halloween party. And please let me know in the comments again what you're going to do in your Halloween party. Please like and subscribe if you like this video. Thank you so much for watching. Happy haunting.